welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today, yet again, is a Kroil sponsored video. And you guys know, of course, when we're doing a project like this, I'm always gonna be using Kroil. Today, we're not wasting any time and we're tackling it right away. We're getting some Kryptonite upper control arms on the truck, and we're also gonna be doing our lower ball joints. The lower ball joint is actually going to be a separate video because I really want to focus on how to do your lower ball joints when you only have to do the lowers. So today we're really going to focus on these upper control arms and show you exactly what you need to do. So without further ado, we got to take the front tires off, enable so that we can access the front control arms, and we're also going to go ahead and take, the wheel hub off, the tie rod off, everything like that, so we can get access to our lower control arms for our lower ball joints. But again, like I said, that's gonna be a separate video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And that, my friends, that is what it looks like to live in the north. These wheel hubs, brakes, and all that, it's only 2 years old, and that's the results of the 2 years old. PPE tire rods, you see how rusty these are? Went through its first winter this winter. And again, that is why I use Kroil on all my trucks, because rust cannot compare and not compete against Kroil. So up here, this is right where we're tackling, right up in here, these bolts right here. We're gonna have to take all these off, so we're just gonna start spraying this stuff down with Kroil. Yep, there we go. So we're gonna just absolutely just soak these things in Kroil right now, because we're gonna go ahead, we gotta take this off. Another spot to soak is right down in here. That's your upper ball joint nut. We got to take that off, so make sure you soak that real good. And again, do not be conservative with this stuff when it comes to these upper control arms. You're going to want to get these as good as you can. Now, when it comes to Kroil, you're going to want to make sure you go ahead and soak all your bolts down, soak your nuts down. You're going to go ahead and let them soak for, say, 10 minutes, and then you can go ahead, go back, and start taking them off, because when it comes to Kroil, you don't have to heat anything up. You simply apply it to the area, and you let the chemicals do the magic and let the magic happen. We gotta take the brake brackets off for the hose here, for the brake line hose. Yes, I upgraded these to a stainless steel brake line hose. I would highly suggest it. If you guys want me to do a video on that, I most certainly can. We can do that on Eric's truck if you want. And we do have to go up in here and disconnect the ABS wheel speed sensor. And now this is where you're gonna want a little plastic pry tool and able to get these little plastic fittings out. They come off pretty simple, to be honest with you, all you guys. Just like that. And this is that plastic pry tool. All right, so now we gotta go ahead and take these right back here. These are the caliper bolts. These are gonna be, I think, a 21 millimeter. All right, so now you got your caliper taken off. You're gonna take some wire and we're gonna hang it on the sway bar over here. And that's how we're gonna hang our caliper. Just like that. I don't know if you guys can see it, but this is how we're hanging our caliper. You don't want any tension on this, so make sure you just go ahead and keep this loose. Now we're gonna go ahead and take the brake drum off. Now I will say, for this part in the video, you guys are going to now see a lot of this off. And when it comes to upper control arms, if you're only doing your upper control arms, you don't have to do this. All you have to do is take your tire off, take the wheel off, take the tire off, and then get access to your upper control arm here. And you can go ahead, take your wheel speed sensor off, take your caliper off just because it's easier. Move it aside just like we are at this point, but you don't have to take the steering knuckle off and all that kind of stuff. You can just pop this off now by itself and go ahead and do your upper control arm, which we'll get into right now. All right, so we've got it popped loose now with that 18 millimeter nut taken off, and now our control arm is free. And now we're gonna go ahead and take these bolts out on here, these two right here. We're gonna go ahead and take these off. So I forgot to mention real quick here, this is a 21 millimeter, and you don't have to put anything on this side because this will hold itself in place. Now I would suggest you taking a picture of exactly the position of the pins, because you wanna try and get them when you install the new ones in roughly the same exact location, so that way you're not too crazy on your way to the alignment shop. I did not mention this before, but 100% make sure you schedule your alignment ahead of time if you're doing this, or if you can let your truck sit and wait, or sit and wait until you get your alignment. Don't worry about it, but make sure you get an alignment after this, because your truck is gonna be just destroyed if you don't get it. All right, we've got one off. So next, now we've got to get these pins taken out. Hopefully we'll be able to smack it. I'm thinking it'll move pretty good. The Kroil seemed to do a really good job breaking all of the rust and corrosion, everything that's happening in that upper control arm loose. So I really think we're gonna be able to get these out pretty easily, you should say. So all I'm gonna do is take our ball peen hammer and just start giving it a nice tap. You can already see, how easily it's starting to come. Give it a nice little tap. Be patient with it, take your time. Oh yeah, just like that, just like that. Woo! No, not much else to say. That came out really easily. I know a lot of guys say that this is probably the hardest part. This truck has been a Wisconsin truck its whole life. It deals with a lot of rust. I had undercoating on it. It's got a lot of gunk on it. And Kroil did the job, you guys. I can't express it enough. Get yourself a can of Kroil. It just makes life that much easier. So now, just gotta take it out. Oh, there we go. Garbage. All right, so next we're gonna take out these cam pins. We'll just hit them out with a hammer because we did order new ones. Again, I would highly suggest you order new ones. It's not that not that much of an extra cost to get new ones upgraded, and they just kind of slam in there. So we're gonna hit them out with a hammer. That easy, guys. That easy. Kind of hit them at an angle here like this. Like that. Like that. Like that. And they'll pop out. Next, we're going to go ahead, assemble our Kryptonite upper control arms because we're going to have to put the upper ball joints on it. We're also going to clean up this area here where they're going to mount to, and then get them installed, you guys. All right, so next step we're going to do here is we're going to build these control arms. We're going to put them together. I'm not going to show you how to do it just because the instructions that you get from Kryptonite are actually very, very good instructions, and you just follow along with it step by step, and they'll tell you exactly how to put these together. It's very simple, you guys. I mean, honestly, you can't go wrong with how you install them. So, like I said, we've got all our hardware here. We're going to go ahead and get these things installed. I will say, if I run into anything that I should tell you guys that I think you're going to want to know, I will let you know. All right, so we got them all built now. Not much to say. We got to put the grease zerks on next. But when it comes to the actual ball joint, the only thing you need to pay attention to is if you have a 4-inch lift or above, you need to mount this underneath the control arm instead of above. And my truck does not have a lift currently right now, but in the future, because I do want to get a 6-inch lift and like turn it down, but in the future, if I do get that, these control arms are so easy to deal with. They're easy enough to swap that around when I need to. Now, important part, cam pins right here. A lot of people struggle with getting these in straight. You need to make sure that you get these in perfectly flush when you install these. I'm gonna try and show you guys a little trick here, what I did, because I don't have the right proper tool, so we're gonna go ahead and make do with that. So what I did is I took like a 10mm socket and a larger vice grips, and I put that 10mm socket in there like this. Here, I'll show you, hold on. So this is what I did so that the nipple kind of goes inside the socket here, and you want to make sure the flat part of the vice grip is on the inside against where it's supposed to be flush. And then up here you can see the vice grip will grip the socket, and then to get it straight you can either put an Allen wrench at the end of your vice grips here, or just wrench them tight. I just cranked them tight with my channel locks. And that is an absolute, it works smoothly, you guys. I would highly suggest going this route. It's very easy to do. You can feel it. You can see how straight you can tell how straight, you can't see it, but you can tell how straight they're going in, and it works really well. A lot of people struggle with this aspect of the install because it is kind of a weird spot. A guy on Instagram actually showed me a really cool way how he did it, is he made like he took like 2 bolts and made like a little sleeve, and he cranked the 2 bolts, the sleeve, and that pushed the 2 bolts out and spread it right here, and that pushed them out perfectly fine. That is a great option and a great way to do it. I really liked it. I just completely slipped my mind, so I improvised yet again, and this is a great way to do it, you guys. So if you're struggling with how to do it, Get yourself a vice grip if you don't have any. 10mm socket, don't lose it. And then crank her tight. I will also say here real quick that the Kryptonite logo, the nameplate here, needs to be facing towards the front of the truck. And also there's a lot of, with these specifically with the ball joints here, there's torque specs that the instructions will show you. Something right here. They're in there somewhere. But anyways, so that's important. Then you're gonna have your washer, you're gonna have your cotter pins here for your castle nuts. So now we're ready. And like I said, I'm gonna link all this stuff here below for you, specifically, you know, the cam bolt kit, the cam pins, you know, stuff like that. All this is gonna get linked down before you. Some Kroil, everything I have in this video will be linked below. But now we're ready to go ahead and get this stuff installed, and it should go pretty smooth. So I'm just gonna get it started here. And then I'll take you guys up there, get you nice and close to this, how it looks and how it should be. Like I said, I'm just gonna get it started and then I'll just bring you in closer. All right, so what I did here is I've got them in the right locations here. You wanna make sure when you take your old ones out to just take a picture so you remember how your kit is orientated. But so now we're gonna go ahead and tighten this down. So now again, this is what I talked about in the last one. I took a picture and I'm gonna try and get it as close as I can to this. But you need to understand that you're not going to be able to get it perfectly close, and that you have to get in alignment. I mean, I can't express it enough. You have to get in alignment. Again, you get it close. You get it close to what you had it at. You check your picture. Oh, wow. That's pretty good. Go to tighten this down. You're gonna have, where's that torque wrench? Right here, got it. You're gonna have 90 foot-pounds. So when you go to do this, you need to understand that your torque wrench, you're gonna torque it down to 90 foot-pounds. Even though you're gonna take it to get in alignment, it's very important because you still have to get down the road. Torque it to 90 foot-pounds. There's the money shot. So now we're gonna tighten the other side here. Again, you're gonna wanna check your picture, see how this is my picture right now, and that's where my cam pin is. Looks like I have to move it just a little bit more. And how you move it is quite simple. You just go ahead and put your wrench on there and, you know, wrench it down a little bit, and that'll get it to move just that little bit that you need. And now we're gonna go ahead, torque the other side of our control arm down, and then hop to the other side of the truck and take care of that one. I'm not gonna film that one for you guys because literally you just repeat these exact same steps. I would highly suggest you guys watch other people's videos as well. Everybody does everything differently, and you can pick up little tricks here and there from a lot of different people, you guys. So make sure you guys, if you're gonna do this and you've never done it before, watch other people's videos, see how they do it, compare them, and then make your own way of how you wanna do it. All right, so this part is actually gonna be easier if you're doing this in your driveway on the ground, because now we've got to jack this whole assembly up a little bit to get it to be able to connect to our upper control arm here with the upper ball joint. So again, this part would be a lot easier if we had this thing on the ground, not gonna lie. The old trusty jack here is gonna get her up for us. All right, so what we ended up doing here is we ended up dropping the lift down, using the floor jack to be able to get it. And same thing as your lower ball joints. If you watch that video when we did it on Eric's truck, there is a hole in there, if you can see down in there. There's a hole for that cotter pin. And do not, absolutely 1000% do not loosen that castle nut to line up the hole on the cotter pin. If you go past it, you gotta keep going. Do not loosen it up. I cannot express it enough. If you loosen it up, you're gonna make life a lot more dangerous for you. So just don't loosen it up, tighten it down. If you go past it, you can keep going. You can go past it a little bit more and line up that hole so you can slide that cotter pin in. And right down here, that is how your cotter pin should look when it's on your castle nut. All right, so the next step here is we're gonna go ahead and throw some anti-seize on our wheel bearing here, our wheel hub for our brake rotors. That way they're a lot easier to take off. This is a very nice step, a very good tip, because trust me, you don't want to be in that situation. Quick little tip here, throw a lug nut on where your brake rotor is. That way when you throw your caliper on, your brake rotor is not all funky on you and flopping all over the place. Next step, our brake caliper, gonna get that back in place. Next, we're gonna go ahead and get our brake line rerouted. Here, we're gonna end up zip tying it up here because they don't have like a threaded spot here. I could get like a bolt and do like a nut and bolt type thing, but a zip tie will do just fine. But we're gonna go ahead, get this down. This is a 10 millimeter. Now that we got this routed, I actually do think I'm gonna nut and bolt this to make it a little nicer and get rid of the zip tie. We got that routed real nice and good. We rerouted the wheel speed sensor. It kind of fits in the hole that they give you, but it's not the greatest. And then you plug it back in up top, just like what you did when you take it off. Now again, this process, I'm also gonna link below our upper and lower ball joint video that we did on the PPE Duramax, because it shows you how we took all this stuff off really well. You don't have to do that. Again, if you're doing just the upper control arm, you can just pop off your upper ball joint, take the stuff off, pop up your upper ball joint, and you have access right there. You don't have to do all this extra stuff, and it actually will be a lot easier because when we did our lower ball joints, we had to raise, as you saw in the video, we had to raise this whole thing back up and do a bunch of whole mess of stuff. You don't have to do that when you do just your uppers, so keep that in mind. Like I said previously, make sure you go ahead and check all your torque specs. I do apologize if this video was kind of all over the place. Hopefully you got something out of this video of watching how to do this upper control arm. Like I said, please, 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 please watch other people's videos as well. Don't just watch one video and go and do it, because you're not gonna remember a lot of steps. Watch a couple of people's videos, do it yourself. It's really not that hard of a task. It's just very time consuming. Keep in mind I am filming and stuff like that, but it's very time consuming. If you're doing it by yourself in your driveway, just figure your whole day. And if you get done early, say, hey, you got yourself a day which you can do whatever you want. So that being said, please hit that like button and the subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, please hit that bell button. It helps the channel out a lot. I appreciate all the support. And without a doubt, thank you so much to Kroil for hopping on the sponsor. It is a great journey that I'm having with Kroil. I'm so glad to have them on the channel, sponsoring videos like this. So make sure you guys go check out Kroil, whether you do it through Amazon or their website itself. They have a lot of information and a lot of different products out there. I will link everything below that I did in this video, my camera equipment, the control arms, every part that I use for the control arms, not the zip ties or anything like that. But that being said, make sure you guys have yourselves a great night, and we'll see you in the next video.